Thanks to the support as a channel member, Adam Pass. Oh, it feels like ages since we've spoken, Mrs Wearmouth. Yeah, have you not been keeping up to date with what's been going on? Wow. Thanks for the interest. Since we last spoke, Kalala's gone, we've won the league, and we've had a new youth intake. So it's basically a different team about to go into a new division. So, thanks for keeping up to date with things. Hello and welcome to part 7 of Homegrown. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we have our final 2 league games of the season. But they're merely an opportunity to see some football, because people will get grumpy on if I don't show them any match action. There's news to show you, though, and the news is more important. Since you were last with me, we've continued our good form. Somewhere in here, I think it was against Berkhamsted, we won the league. I did consider coming back to show you winning the league and thinking about it. Maybe again, I maybe would next time, and then not show you the last couple of games of the season, just so you at least get to see us lifting the title. But at the time, my brain wasn't thinking that way, and I was looking at the last day of the season, a derby against Yaxley, possibly the last time you'll see us, plus Craig McCall-Smith, former posh hero, plays for Bedford, and I just wanted to play those 2 games on camera. So that's what we're doing. We have won the league. We won it comfortably, 94 points from 36 games. We're on course for a 100-point season. Henry Barton is still here and on 34 goals for the year as well. Not only is he still here, now we've got promoted. He's signed a big boy contract. He's one of a few players who we've got tied down to a 1-year deal to get through next season as well. But there are players who have left. I mentioned Kalala. Kalala has gone to Maidenhead, where if he'd have just waited, I don't know why he's lost his face. Hang about. Has everyone else still got their faces? This face pack. Someone get Zealand on the phone. This face pack. Goodness me. Well, Kalala's lost his face. Because, right, you're leaving? I'm having your face. I don't know why that's happened. But he's actually earning less money than he would have done if he'd have stayed. So hopefully that's a lesson that some of the other better players can learn, because Barton is now earning more money than Kalala, even though Kalala left. And we also lost Danowski as well, who's gone to Dartford, again, earning almost no money playing for Dartford in the Vanarama South. He would have earned more money with us if he'd have stayed. We have signed a couple of new players as well. I think you saw, did you see Tommy Lewis last time? You probably didn't. This one was a mistake. He's not very good. We'll be letting him go this summer probably. I don't know why he doesn't even have a face. Why have some of their real players? That's why they've got faces. I don't know why he doesn't have a face. We'll worry about. I think the faces, we might have to knock the faces on the head. They seem to be very hit and miss whether they actually work. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll try and do it. But sometimes there'll be players that don't have faces. And we've signed 2 players who are being released from our city rivals. Probably not rivals yet. Our fellow city team, Peterborough, are releasing Kaya Radette Gregory. He's joined us. He's got 4.5 star potential. And also Sean Keane is a right back who's joined us with 5-star potential. Like I say, real players, exciting stuff. But even more exciting than that, we've had our first youth intake. And in fact, there's a couple of them already in the first team squad. Most notable, let's get this sorted so we can see him. Most notable is the direct replacement for Kalala, Kieran Hodgkinson, one of our Name in the Game channel members. He is officially a striker, but Kalala had just left, so he's only ever played for us as a central midfielder. He was originally competent. We've now got him up to accomplished there. He's still only 16, but he's a 4-star player with 5-star potential. He's wanted by Walsall. Kieran Hodgkinson is the real deal. He's played 6 games for us already. At some point, he'll get the opportunity to play for us as a striker, but we do need to bring in more midfielders to be able to do that. And the other standout from the youth intake is Nathan Curry, who is actually a midfielder, but not at the same level as Hodgkinson. So he's also got 5-star potential. Hopefully he'll have a good summer and be ready to step into the team in midfield so we can move Hodgkinson forward to play up front. With the rest of the youth intake, we've got a couple of other guys, Peter Price, Darren Gallagher. In fact, Darren Gallagher was already here, but Peter Price is one of the new ones. He's a centre-back. And there's a couple of other players with some decent potential as well. That's Jack McCarron. Don't worry about that. We need to give him some games at some point, don't we? We need to retrain him, but Slam Dunk's still here, so he's just not getting games. But with us now being promoted, we have had a shuffle around financially. I still don't know where this money is coming from. and we're getting these inexplicable grants, which we've had £423,000 worth of grants this season. I don't know what the grants are. I don't understand where they're coming from. We're getting a lot of grants. Apparently, it's because we've got a good youth setup, someone said in the comments. Because our youth setup is good, we're getting grants to cover it because we're using so many youth players. I guess that might be the case, but it seems like far more money than we need to pay the players that we've got, as you can see by the fact our balance is accumulating. But it does mean we've got a transfer budget and a much higher wage budget for next year, which I've been able to take into the squad and start throwing some contracts around. I've not been able to give everybody a contract because some of them just aren't interested. Harrison Davis, for example, he's still on his youth contract, but he's not interested in signing a big boy contract. So we'll keep trying. Basically, any of the better players who don't have a contract, that's why they've not got one. So Slam Dunk, Jack McCarron, Pritchard, not interested in signing a contract. But we have been able to tie down basically Barton. Barton is the one who's signed is he the only one who's signed a contract so far? He is the only one who's signed a contract so far. Although I think I gave a contract to Kieran Hodgkinson as well. He's got a contract that will start at the end of his youth thing, I think. Yeah, the player's already agreed a contract offer with the club. So Kieran Hodgkinson will also be having a full-time contract that starts at the end of his youth contract or when he turns 17 or whenever they happen. At some point, he gets a contract. But we will keep trying to offer contracts to some of these other guys because obviously, although we've got money to spend, we are going up to a higher division and we can't really go out and buy loads of players. As you've already seen with the ones that have come in, these youngsters can be a bit hit and miss. Sometimes you get a Danny Pritchard who has been fantastic and has got 8 goals in 15 games. He's now a 3.5-star player. Sometimes you get a Tommy Lewis who, I mean, his moustache says it all, really. Tommy Lewis. Probably never going to play a game for us, but it's always going to be a little bit hit and miss, and hopefully those youth players who've come through will, a few of them will do a Mick Powell, or as we might start referring to it, Harrison Davis, who's now the best player at the club, a 5-star current ability player, who's already considered League 2 quality. So will almost certainly be leaving us at the end of his youth contract. I just hope we can keep hold of him for another year as a youth player. We're going to accept that we're probably not going to get any money for him. He's never going to sign another contract. But hopefully we get to keep him for another year as a youth player. That's the plan. But let's get into these final few games of the season, show you how the team have been getting on, show you some of these new players, and particularly Hodgkinson. Pritchard playing in his new target man role is having a lovely time as well. But Hodgkinson is the one I want you all to keep an eye on. He is playing in midfield, but remember he's a striker. And we might even give him the opportunity to play the final game of the season up front, maybe alongside Pritchard. I'm not sure. Not sure where we'd play him. Is Mikhail Smith playing for Bedford? That's the most important thing. Here he is, my boy Craig Mikhail Smith in the team for Bedford, and of course Alex Street off of the Kings Lynn save from last year as well. It's a proper LOLLUJO reunion. Although that being said, I don't think I've ever managed Craig Mikhail Smith on YouTube. I obviously managed him many times over the years when he was at Peterborough, and I would just do my annual Peterborough save before I had to mix things up and do different saves each year to keep things interesting for YouTube. He says in episode 7 of another home series, I didn't do it last year on YouTube, so that makes it new and fresh. Right, Mccartney playing it back to White, who is, I mean, he is the partner for Davis at the back now. He's a player at the start of the year. We never had any intention of getting anywhere near the team, but he is getting a run of games now because we don't really have any other options, and that's going to be a bit of a theme of this team. If you're worried that it's been a little bit easy getting promoted out of Tier 8, don't worry. We're going to be in a harder division next year with fewer decent players, and I think next year is going to be a big challenge. When I ran some of the, I holidayed forward 5 years, 10 years with this database. I did that 4 or 5 times just to check that it was all working as it should. And the most common thing to happen was Home to go up first season and then come down second season. And 5 or 10 years later, just be a mid-table Tier 8 side. So don't expect us to charge up through the leagues unless we can bring in some really good young players this summer, which of course has got to be the goal, because we have got some significant gaps in the squad, at centre-back, in central midfield, in the full-back positions, in goal. we could do. Oh, look at that from Hodgkinson! What a goal! He's a 16-year-old playing out of position, and he can do that. He has got a very, very bright future. We need to get him up front. Him and Pritchard as a strike partnership. They are the future of Holme, as long as we can get them contracts, which at the moment Pritchard's not interested. I can't believe, if you've been around for a long time, you'll know my opinions on target men. I can't believe I'm playing with a target man, but you saw there just how effective he is in this wing play system that we're doing. I'm using a 4-4-2 is completely alien to me. Using a target man is completely alien to me. But I'm quite enjoying learning another way of playing. And it's certainly working. It's been effective. Oh, and there he is. Craig McHale-Smith, goal 29 of the season for him. That's just what he does. That's how he rolls. And this is a Craig McHale-Smith who doesn't have any pace left. And he's about 40 years old. And he's still banging in the goals because he's still an excellent finisher. It's 2-1. Bedford were one of the pre-season favourites to go up. They've ended up having a pretty ropey season, finishing down in 14th place, which is a bit of a surprise with who they've got up front. And he's scored 29 goals, as you've just seen, and also having Alex Street in goal. They've got some significant talent, some decent players in their team, but clearly mixing it in with a load of trash. I mean, Rene Howe is another player who used to play for Peterborough, not quite remembered in the same way by Peterborough fans as Craig McHale-Smith was or is. So, yeah, there's certainly a significant difference between the quality of the two of them. Mccartney, but ultimately, Howe is still a former Football League player. Let's not forget that. I'm mocking him a little bit because he wasn't any good in the Championship or League One or whatever league we were in when he played for us quite a while ago now. But ultimately, he's a former Football League player. Unlike everybody in our team, Slam Dunk's taken a knock here, so we're going to take him off. Macchiardi's just got only his second goal of the season, but we are going to take off Slam Dunk. We've got McCarron down on the bench, so he can come on. And we might bring on Van der Laan in a minute and put Hodgkinson up front for the final 20 minutes or so of the game, just to see. I haven't played him up there yet. He's not played a single minute as a striker. It's all been as a box-to-box midfielder, because basically Kalala left as the youth intake came in, and he was right there. Okay, we'll solve that problem like that, and it worked. Can I point out as well, Pritchard, instrumental in that goal again. He is such an important player for us up front. Right, we are going to bring on Van der Laan, and we're going to put Hodgkinson up front with Pritchard. And what kind of striker does he want to be? He can be a poacher alongside a target man. Goodness me, I never thought I'd see the day. And we're also going to bring on Ollie Bruno Rowe to play left back for the final few minutes. I might drop a little bit of praise. I've not dropped any praise. I think that might be the first time I've ever dropped any praise on this team. Well done, boys. We've had a good season. We're on course for 100 points. You probably deserve a little bit of praise at this point. Free kick from Bedford, hits the outside of the post. And there is nobody behind that goal. That one guy who sometimes stands there hasn't travelled today, clearly. Bedford, far too far from home. I mean, it's just down the road. But obviously far too far from home for him to travel. Right, here is Hodgkinson playing as a striker now. Van der Laan plays it forward for Pritchard, who's got there and gives it to Hodgkinson. Hodgkinson's only really got Pritchard to aim for. In fact, he cuts it back to Van der Laan. Van der Laan across to Hartshorn, Bruno Rowe, and there is Hodgkinson. And there you go. He's a striker. He's a poacher. He's got 2 goals today. Maybe we'll have to leave the number 6 shirt on his back when he converts properly to a striker. But I think he's just very, very good. We lost Kalala and didn't notice because we've upgraded with an even better player who's come through our youth system. Those of you who watched the home series a few years ago, Kieran Hodgkinson might just be this year's Lyric Fernandez, who's come through the youth system in that first intake and is going to be good enough to still be playing for us in the Championship on merit, like Lyric Fernandez did all those years ago. And Harrison Davis, with his 8th goal of the season, makes it 5. It's been very comfortable again. You're not going to see as much of this next year, I don't think. So make the most of seeing us batter a team. Because next year is going to be a whole new world. I think we're probably going to lose a few more of these boys over the summer. I can't imagine Slam Dunk's going to be here next year, for example. And obviously we can't go out and spend loads of money to replace them. We've got to replace them from within the club. But fingers crossed. We do that occasionally because it is fun putting 5 goals past a team. I enjoy it. Here we go then, folks. Final game of the season, possibly our final local derby against our biggest rivals, Yaxley. And we're making no changes to the team because you just saw what they did. Hodgkinson can get an opportunity to go up front maybe as the game goes on. We've also just had Danny Pritchard's 17th birthday, and he is now considering a 1-year contract for a proper big boy contract. So hopefully we can get Pritchard tied down to a deal as well. If we've got him and Barton with Hodgkinson on his youth contract lurking around for at least another year, then at least we've got the attack sorted. I think between the three of them, we don't need to go out and get strikers in the summer. We probably need to pad out the midfield a little bit. And I'm assuming Davis will leave. I don't really know how signing youth players off of other clubs works. Look at that from Pritchard again. He's so very good in the air. Being 6'5" really does help. But I can't believe how much I'm enjoying a target man. I feel dirty, but it's making me rethink everything. Expect to see that this is what I do. When I find a system that really works in one save, it can sometimes leach into the other saves. I'm not expecting to start using a target man in non-league to legend or in my Twitch save, but if I find one as good as he is, who knows? Who knows? 17 years old now, Danny Pritchard. That's his 9th goal of the season. Doesn't tell the whole story, though, of course, because he's only played, I think, 16 games, and we only started playing him as a target man in the last episode, so like 6 or 7 games ago. And he has really come into his own as a target man, and now he lurks on that near post at corners as well. And that goal puts us ahead in the game, obviously, which, if it ends as it is now, would leave us on 100 points for the season. There's Davis, and that's goal number 9 for him. He's also pretty dangerous from these set pieces. We love a corner round these parts. Look how full Homewood is, by the way, for today's local derby. Yaxley have brought loads of fans with them. We've got a half decent turnout, but Yaxley have packed out the away end, which is, I guess it's nice to see. Like I said, it's the last time we're likely to play in this derby, unless we go back down or Yaxley come up or we get them in the cup. So it's nice to have a nice bit of derby atmosphere with them bringing such an away following with them. Barton from the penalty spot makes it 3, and we'll see you in Tier 7 next year, boys and girls. Boys and goals? I mean, that's appropriate, really. Boys and girls. 48th goal of the season now for Henry Barton. The first man. Was he the first man to score for us? I don't remember now. Certainly the first man to be given a part-time contract rather than a paper appearance contract. And hopefully will be with us for many years to come. He's not considered one of the best players at the club on star rating. I think he's only a 3-star current ability player. But 48 goals. We've seen it on Twitch. If you've been watching the Twitch saves with FC Isle of Man, you'll have seen Jordan Jewson. We started down in Tier 10 in that save. And he's only ever been a 2-star current ability player, but he scored like 60 goals in his first season, up near 50 again in his second. He's got over 100 goals in 3 years, just because he's a good striker. Star ratings, I've got to learn to take them with a pinch of salt at this level, and that's what we've done with Barton. And I think it's the advantage of the youth development rules that we've got, because I think if I'd have been able to do transfers, I looked at Barton's star rating and replaced him. As it is, forced into using him because he was the best striker we had. And so very glad we did, because he has been brilliant. Yaxley enjoying a nice little bit of possession here, but they're never going to get past us lumping the ball forward like that. If there's one thing we're good at, it's heading a football, whether it's in attack or defence. If they're going to kick the ball forward like that, we'll head it back all day long. That's how you beat us. And hopefully not too many teams will figure it out. But even Harrison Davis, who's considered a future Football League player, I mean, he's been dragged out of position there, never really makes it back. He's nowhere. It's his man who's gone past him. He's stepped forward. It's poor defending from Davis, who's supposed to be the best defender at the club, but he's still a young boy. And we're going to take Hodgkinson off. I know I said we might play him up front, but we're going to take him off. He's not playing very well. We'll stick Bruno Rowe at right back as well. The guy who's just come on, Zach Mccartney. I think you've met Zach Mccartney before. He's another one who can play as a striker, but we're trying to force him into being a midfielder, similar to the Hodgkinson situation. I think we'll bring on Van der Laan as well for the final change. Just give him a little bit more game time in central midfield, because he's never going to be in the team as a winger unless McCarron and Slam Dunk both leave, which hopefully they don't both leave, but there's every chance they will this summer. In which case Van der Laan might finally get to have some game time as a lovely, lovely winger. There is Van der Laan, though, and he's trying to drift out wide now. Someone needs to get a hold of him and shove him back into the centre of the pitch where he's supposed to be. Look at him. He's wider than Slam Dunk at the moment. Pritchard plays it back to Van der Laan. Back into Pritchard again. There is Slam Dunk. Bachelor ex Pitetta has been fouled, and I think that's a red card in a derby. Yeah, I mean, is it really a derby game if nobody gets sent off? It adds to the entertainment. Yaxley now down to 10 men, and it would be nice for us to grab a fourth goal, just really rubber stamp it. But the important thing is 100 points on the board. Tier 7 football for us next year. I assume that means we're moving into the Southern Premier League, but I know with the way these lower level databases work sometimes, and the way football works in real life, we'll go into whatever league's got a vacancy, I guess. We might end up in the Northern Premier League, but I'm thinking probably Southern Premier League, and we'll see how we get on from there. But there we have it. Confirmation that we're up. I mean, there's nothing on the screen to confirm that we're up. My words, take them as confirmation that we're up. There you go. In fact, we have got confirmation that we're up. We've won Southern League, Central Division. Let's just check in with Mrs Wearmouth, make sure she's happy. She is pretty happy. She is one happy lady. Look at all those coaching courses as well. This is the advantage of all those graphs. Graphs, grants. I'm already studying for a Continental C licence. I've been doing night school all year. Why is my reputation so low? Oh, just because it hasn't built up yet. Okay, that's fine. There's my attributes. People always ask. Level of discipline is shot up. That was, I mean, these numbers were not this high at the start. My level of discipline has gone through the roof. It would be nice to have a development graph for that, which I don't think there is one. But if you go back to episode 1 or 2, I would have showed you this back then. That is significantly high, because my highest attributes were the youth development ones, but my technical and my level of discipline have already surpassed them, which is really interesting. Right, tomorrow, of course, is going to be a transfer special, probably a different kind of transfer special, because we're only going to be bringing in youngsters, but I have no idea. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.